Hi psychology students, I'm recording this quick video to give you some updates about your project. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the due dates. So what you should do right now, if you haven't already, is to check your email. Hi psychology students, I am checking in with a quick video about your project for today. So the first thing I want to say is to check your email. I have sent an email to every single group almost with feedback on their questions. Depending on the email that I sent you is going to determine your next step. So there's pretty much like two groups of students. For one group, I basically said your questions look great, move on to phase 2 and you're done with phase 1. And for the other group of students, in the feedback email, I said to continue to revise and to make sure to submit by tonight, by the time you're watching this, by tonight, Thursday at midnight. So let me quickly walk through the timeline and some due dates. So again, this week that we're in, there's kind of two categories of you. One group of you, I said in my feedback email that your group is ready to start right away on your slides presentations. And you can just do as I say, just start working on your slides presentations. The other group of you, you're going to be doing this first part. You're going to be editing and updating your answers according to my feedback. Again, the only place where you can see your next step is going to be in your email. So I sent each of you an email with feedback. If you did not receive a feedback email, that is because I didn't have edit access to your document. So please, if you didn't get feedback, make sure that you give me edit access to your document. I requested it, so make sure you do that. And I'll also reach out to you directly at some point today to make sure I can give everyone feedback. Okay, the other big question that I'm getting often is about presentations. So as you can see here in the project outline, the presentations are going to be the week after spring break. And they are going to be over Google Hangout. We can't present in person, unfortunately. So we are going to be presenting over Google Hangouts, and it will be you and one other group, most likely. So it'll be like eight people maximum in the Google Hangout, and you'll be presenting your slides at that time. That will be throughout this whole week. So throughout the 13th through the 17th. And I'm going to send out like a presentation sign-up sheet. So that's not coming for 2 more weeks, but just be aware that presentations are happening the week after spring break. Okay, so the other question I'm getting a lot is group members being out of contact. There are a few groups that I've checked in with who have group members that have been hard to reach or out of contact. If you're in the situation but you haven't touched base with me yet about it, make sure that you let me know as soon as possible. Like I said in my last video, this isn't because they're in trouble. This is just so that we can make sure that they know that we're checking in and we want to make sure that they're still keeping up with their work, particularly now that the AP exam is still happening and teachers are moving forward with grading for AP classes. We want to make sure these students are staying engaged with classwork. So let me know. And because I don't want you guys to be held back and be behind in your project, if you have a group member that has not completed the questions you assigned them, you can just move forward with your project. So let me know, and then after that you can just move forward and start creating the slides, the slideshow, even if some of the questions are missing. Yeah. So move forward. If you have a group member who has questions missing, just skip those questions and make your presentation anyway, because you have really good information to present, even if you have a few pieces missing. Okay, I feel like I'm going really fast, so I'm in 4 minutes. So the last question I've been getting often is people asking when they start to create the slideshow, which again, you're not creating the slideshow until next week. So I'll give more information about that then. When you do create the slideshow, are you going to make 1 slide per question? The answer is no. There's no like rule that you have to make one slide per question. In fact, you definitely don't want to just copy and paste your answers for the questions directly onto the slide. You don't want like a huge block of text. In general, you're going to be dividing your slides thematically. So you might have a slide called like cognitive development, and then you might be detailing with really simple bullet points how that age range is developing cognitively, maybe in like 3 to 4 bullet points. And then in your presentation, you're going to elaborate on those simple bullet points, but you never want, as you guys know, like a ton of text on the slide. You just want like very clear, straightforward bullet points. And then you as the presenter are going to like fill the audience in more on the information behind those bullet points. Okay, again, don't worry about slides quite yet. For most of you, that will be coming next week. For this week, for most of you, the focus is going to be on looking through my feedback email, editing and updating your answers, integrating my feedback, and then resubmitting your document. For most of you, the due date to resubmit these like edited, revised questions is tonight at midnight. A few of you I gave a little bit longer just because it took me longer to give you feedback. So make sure you check the due date. For some of you, I gave a little bit of a different due date in the email. And you can just share those directly with me, or just send me an email saying we revised our questions. And then that will be good for submitting that phase of the project. Okay, last thing I wanted to do is quickly show you 2 examples of strong questions. So these groups are really different. They organized it very differently, but I think they both did a really strong job. So this was Stephanie, Sitlali, and Daisy, and they wrote a lot of information. They were very, very, very detailed in their answers. So just like, you can pause the video and look more, but you can see they don't just say like the body grows. They say toddlers soon acquire the leaner, more athletic look associated with childhood. The child's trunk and limbs grow longer and the abdominal muscles form, tightening the appearance of the stomach. So they're like very detailed about how the body is physically developing. And they continue with that level of detail in pretty much all of their questions. One challenge for this group is going to be shortening the responses into bullet points. So they're obviously not going to just copy and paste these questions onto a slide. They're going to have to think about how to make these into really concise bullet points. And then they're going to have this like extra knowledge that they can elaborate on, and that will really come across in their presentation because they did really strong research before putting the slides together. Okay, so that's one way to go. Another route to go, this is very different looking, but I also think it's really strong, this is Sylvie, Zyra, and Angel, and they summarize things in very clear, straightforward bullet points. They still have a lot of detail actually, but they just didn't write like those full fancy long sentences. They just really encapsulated information in these short bullet points. For them, I think this will actually be easier to put into a slideshow because they kind of already have their bullet points. Something they might have to work on before the presentation is thinking about like in their speaking, how they're going to elaborate more on these points. So 2 very different ways of approaching. I think both are really good, either like really short, concise bullet points or more like narrative style. And then they'll have to pare it down into bullet points before the presentation. Okay. Thank you all for listening to this video. Continue to reach out if you have any questions, and don't forget to submit your revised version of your questions by tonight at midnight. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.